Hanji Wagajika Kasaj Hote, so quick one. It's Valentine's Day today. So I just wanted to remind people of the real relationship, the real love. So what's true in this earth, what's true in this galaxy, in this whole world, universe, whatever you want to call it, is your soul. That is the divine part of the divine light, and then we got Waheguru, Hana, the divine light, uh Ekwankar, Hana. So the supreme being. And then we've got the Shabad Guru, the vibration. Everything else is like, when a child plays with Lego and then smashes it all up. Or like, was it Play-Doh? They create characters out of Play-Doh and then you squash it back and put it in the pot. Everything else is Maya, it's an illusion. The only solid truth is your soul, the divine light, and the vibration of the Shabad Guru. Everything else is a mirage, it's an illusion, it's like a passing cloud, it's a show. It's temporary, it's made out of elements which will, vanish. It's like everything else is like a hologram. And one day when you die, the hologram is going to disappear. And then your soul is going to go to the next journey, whatever that may be, Hannah. So in Gurbani, it says, we are all soul brides and we have to beat Maya, beat the bunch, or beat the illusion and go back to our husband, Lord. So every single being, every single creature is a soul bride, is according to Sikhi, and we have to marry Waheguru by playing this game of love, by defeating Maya. And how do we defeat Maya? Is remembering, worshipping God, and worshipping original form, because we came from God. So it's not no God ain't got ego. He wants you to worship Him and this and that. Is we were God and we need to find our way back home. So it's our ego makes us think God's got ego. That's how messed up it is. When your ego goes with the Simran, then you realize, okay, I'm melting back to my true form. That's all this game is returning home. It's like going into the forests and you got to find your way back to your house, and in the forest there's all these obstacles. You might slip up, there's snakes, there's, what I mean, and you just got to find your way back home. That's, what I mean. So that's all it is. We're in the forest right now and there's so many temptations. There's berries, there's this, there's that, and we stay stuck in the forest and we don't go home to our mum's cooking, what I mean. So it's similar to that sort of thing. So Maharaj Gurbani tells us about this illusion and our relatives, our families. Look, we do Grish Jeevan, you can have families, you're gonna be attached to your kids, this and that. It's natural. And plus, when you haven't overcome the Panch Jor, attachment is a big part of the Panch Jor. It makes people crazy. People, our whole lives are geared up to this attachment to families. Our parents teach us, Padolo Liklo, Tadi family, the Hojugi. You're geared up to this Walt Disney marriage and live happily ever after, have 3 kids, have 2 kids, have a goldfish, have a parrot, have a pet dog, have a nice car, nice house, mansion, no trouble. We imagine this as a kid. We're fed this whole schooling system, everything, to get good career and this and that, to start this family. Very rarely do some parents lay the smack down and say, look, man, I don't care about the other stuff. I just want you to jump now and get to Waheguru. Rarely is anyone's parents saying that, you know, um, and that's what they should be saying. It's not that we don't care about the other stuff, but a lot of Punjabi families focus 90 or 95% on the other stuff. Then they wonder why the kids been groomed, or why the kids not married a non-Sikh, or why their kids not into Sikhi. You haven't taught them nothing from a young age. Parlo liklo, parlo liklo, parlo liklo, parlo liklo. If that was a mantra, that's the mantra in Punjabi families. Parlo liklo, passe banalo, parlo liklo, passe banane. You know what I mean? They repeat that. No, not many families sit and do mool mantra, gur mantra together, or eat together. A family that prays and eats together stays together, huh? So I will be giving some well-doing advice on how to, there's a lot of divorces, breakups, whatever, how to try to avoid that, and how a divorce and stuff, can really destroy the kids' lives. First one, look at the Gurbani. In the Gurbani, it says, in the midst of children, spouse, and relations, some are detached. they are pleasing to your will. So living, you can live in families, spouses, relations, but the norm's going on, the jumping arm, they know this is illusion, they know it's temporary, they're not emotionally attached. When I say emotionally attached, it's like a lot of people, they wake up, they don't focus on God. Morning to night, it's all about work and family, looking after the household. Rabdanani lende, they don't think about God. God is not in their life. And they do this for years and years, and they might have a spiritual awakening, and some might die without any spiritual awakening. So they've come here, they lived, they have worshipped the creation, they've served the creation, they serve the illusion, but they haven't got the real deal. They haven't thought about the real deal. What was truth? They serve this passing cloud, this illusion. So the enticing desires for Maya leads people to become emotionally attached to children, relatives, household, and spouses. Ang 41. The previous Shabbat was Ang 139. So exactly what I said, Hannah. This wealth, youth, children, spouse, which the Lord has given you, this is all a passing show, like I said. Ang 336. Without the Naam, nothing should go along with him, not his children, spouse, or enticements of Maya. Ang 690. These are just a few Shabbats. If you go to Sikh to the Max, type in spouse, children, hundreds of Shabbats come. And, hard hitting Shabbats. It's Valentine's Day. I didn't want to go too hard hitting, I just wanted to give a chilled out day to you, innit? You know what I mean? But Maharaj's truth bombs is hard. Maharaj, sometimes the Bani is so truthful, it's hard to digest, and people sometimes get angry with Maharaj because like, what are you saying? Because they're so into Maya, they're twisted. The truth bombs don't make no sense sometimes because they've not heard nothing like it, and it takes a while to absorb. We all get slapped from Maharaj with the Bani, and sometimes when you first get slapped, the child hates the parent, and it takes a bit of time to realize, oh, okay, I now know why I was slapped. The initial reaction when some people hear Barney quotes, these are mild. There's some hard hitting Barney quotes on this topic in Cyril Granth Sahib Maharaj. Nice Kaljog. A lot of families, they stay together. They teach Sikhi. A lot of families stay together. They don't teach Sikhi, Nasha, Pangra. And I'm not anti-Pangra, by the way. I'm just saying that's all they teach. You know what I mean? They're not teaching any Santhya, any Japji Sahib, or any sitting down doing Guru Mantra together. The Sikhi is non-existent in a lot of households. It just doesn't exist. It's Jatism or Punjabism or Goraism. You know what I mean? It's no Sikhism. You know what I mean? So a lot of divorces are happening in Skaljog. We're all in the punish draw. Divorces happening. Look, the hardest time is when you first have kids. Massage each other, let people sleep. Share the nights if you can. If the man's working, then obviously he can't share the nights. But when he comes back from work, let the woman catch up on sleep. The woman should be sleeping with the kid. Go for walks. Massage, hot soaks in baths. And in marriage in general, don't disrespect each other. Once the disrespect starts, the respect for each other goes. There's two things that will destroy a marriage: not respecting each other and not trusting each other. If them things come, it's too late. The marriage is done. You can go marriage counseling and this and that, but sometimes when some boundaries are crossed, they're never healed. So affairs, cheating, and just look, we're all gonna have bad days. Even the people that couples have been together 30, 40 years, they've had bad days. But constant nagging, constant toxic environment, constant moaning, bitching about this and that, putting your man down, or vice versa, is toxic. So what happens in a toxic environment? If your body is intoxicated with too much alcohol, you're alcoholic, the organs start going, things start rotting, diseases start coming. The same with a marriage. If you don't watch your mouth, it all starts from the mouth, the tone, the way you speak. Just be pleasant. Who's got time for arguments, conflict, and all that? Life is so hard enough as it is. When you enter your house, it should be your safe space. The world out there is out to get you. You know what I mean? It's not easy world. The workplace ain't easy. Going, surviving the streets, walking around ain't easy. People going to work, getting raped, mugged. So much is happening out there. Just general health wise, the pollution, this and that. It's not always dangerous from other people. A dog can bite you, you know, anything can happen. So once you shut your door in your house, it should be peace. And you know, if people aren't finding that peace, they turn to alcohol, they turn to this. Obviously, Sikhi is the number one thing you should turn to. But women need to realize as well, constantly not giving your man peace, or just constantly moaning, nagging too much. I know it's hormones, this, that, but you know, had hundi, you know what I mean? There's always gonna be bad days. But when every day is a bad day, then you know that's gonna resentment's gonna build up and it's gonna flare up. You know, men should walk away. Some men stay because of the kids, right? Because they don't want to leave their kids at a young age, and the next man come in, and the kids are 2 and 3. You know, a lot of mans and women they stay together because of financial reasons and the kids. When there is a divorce, obviously the kids will suffer, and especially when the two households, the man and woman, they're not on the same page. The kids need masculine, feminine energy. They need that structure. The man brings a different fear, a different discipline. The woman brings the emotional support, love. And man and woman will never get each other when it comes to kids. But when they work together and they're on the same page in the same house, you know, the kids generally do flourish. Yeah. Also, when there's a divorce and they're not on the same and they're on the same page, it might work a bit, but obviously the man's not there to police and control. Like when the kids go to the man's house and he's normally a bit more disciplined or trying to raise kids a bit more in a disciplined way, then the man becomes the bad guy. That happens a lot, you know. Vice versa, sometimes the dad's too laid back and he's in his feminine and the mum has to do all the discipline. But the kids always, this day and age, they're lazy. They want to go where it's easy. You know, we're living in the junk food, processed food, tablet generation, slouch TV generation, you know, and a lot of parents are having these problems even when they're living together. And when they're divorced, it just magnifies because kids play the parents against each other, and there's one set of rules there, one set of rules here. So a lot of that is happening, and some parents, dads ain't seeing the kids, they're seeing the kids once a month, or kids are used as weapons and stuff. So it messes up the kids, man. So take your time, find your partner, don't rush your kids. Try to start a family with the right person because you don't want to be ending up in this territory because it will mess up the kids badly, you know? And yeah, so ideally stay together, bring security into your house, do the Nam Japana and stuff like that. Yeah, so that's all I can say, man. But remember, the real love is the husband, Lord. These Damashi are going to keep happening. You've probably been married before. I know a lot of people are finding it hard to get partners. It's hard to find good people, guys. Don't settle for less, man. You rather be single and keep your peace instead of being in a toxic relationship or having kids or being divorced and going through the pain of separation and messing up the kids' lives. You know what I mean? There's a lot of relationship junkies out here, just move man to man, woman to woman, and they think that the answers are in a spouse, right? But Maharaj is giving you the answers, Naam Bani, you know? These relationships, pros and cons, they might work out, they might not work out, and less are working out these days. You know what I mean? I'm hearing of more and more divorces, more and more situations every day. I'm not trying to put you off marriage, you know, but just take your time, find a decent partner, and make sure that tick list, you know, a lot of the ticks are ticked. You know what I mean? Take care, people. Respect.